So let's talk a little bit about critical thinking. If you are a critical thinker, you have skills at thinking critically. What's involved in thinking critically? What does this mean? Well, I think it basically comes down to this. You have skills at finding and evaluating and making arguments. What are arguments? Arguments are conclusions supported by reasons. So I think there are two really useful questions, simple questions, that are useful to be a critical thinker. The two questions are this: what do you mean, and why think that? These two questions go together. The why think that question is basically a question about what's the argument. So if somebody says something, we can ask why, or why think that. The that is like their conclusion. It's their point. It's what they want you to believe. The why are the reasons. So if somebody says something, we ask, well, why think that? And they say, I don't know, I just feel that way, that's just my opinion, I don't really know. A critical thinker will say, well, you don't seem to have any reasons for your views, so I'm not sure whether it's worth thinking about what you have to say. So the why think that question is all about arguments, having an argument, having a conclusion supported by reasons. Now, there's a lot to learn about arguments, what makes them good, what makes them bad, and you really should take a class about arguments. Take a class in logic or critical thinking. There's a lot to really learn about what good arguments are like and what bad arguments are like. There's all sorts of different types of arguments, and there's a lot to learn. But as a start, this simple question of asking why and why think that is really important. So the other question is, what do you mean? And about many controversial topics, or especially controversial topics, people say things that if you think about what they're saying, you can and should ask, well, what do you mean by that? And you need to ask people that to really understand what they're saying. Understand their exact conclusions, understand their exact reasons, understand how those reasons that they give might connect up to those conclusions. So, if you don't understand what somebody's saying, you can't figure out whether what they're saying is true or false, or what kind of evidence there is for and against it. So, if you're a critical thinker, you have skills at finding and evaluating arguments, that is, conclusions supported by reasons, and asking these two questions, why or why think that, and what do you mean, are really important. And what's most important is we can ask these two questions about things that we think ourselves. So I hope this helps you become a better critical thinker.